Hello, family and friends. This is Corey from Thought Soldiers. So, I wanted to talk today about our internal compass, our internal moral compass, I like to call it. And it's basically the way I've really navigated this whole ascension journey as far as getting in line with my divine purpose and things that are of a vibrational match with me and what I'm set to do here in this lifetime. Why I decided to incarnate in this time frame to do what I need to do. So for a very long time, I suffered from very, very, very extreme anxiety, especially when I started to really wake up. The synchronicity started for me post 9/11. So once 9/11 hit in 2001, that's when I really started to notice the number sequences and like started to feel like I was activating, but never really fully understood it until about 3 years ago. So for a very long time in my life, especially in my youth, I would do what other people told me to do as far as with school, what I wanted to do in life with careers. I never really learned to trust my intuition and to trust what felt right with me, what was a vibrational match, especially since a lot of us come from this programming of being told what to do, when to do it, especially when it comes to school. Things like that early on in childhood. And a book that really changed my life recently as far as understanding why I really need to tap into my intuition is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And that book helped kind of clear the slate of being able to find who I am authentically and be able to live by a new way of life. And what's really neat is when I found that book, I had already started the process of clearing old programming without fully knowing why I was doing it. And once I started to read the book, it was cool because it kind of unveiled that everything I'd been doing was correct, according to the Toltec belief that he presents in his book. So anyway, this moral compass, we all have it. We have this internal GPS system that tells us when we are in line, when we are out of line, when we're in sync, when we're out of sync, when we're on our path, when we're really far off our path. And what will happen is our external reality will start to mirror the way that compass feels. So for me, it always harnessed in anxiety as far as knowing when I'm out of sync or out of whack. Now, I've had to learn how to discern between the survival instinct anxiety, which, for instance, would come if you get into a car with someone for the first time. You're about to go bungee jumping. You encounter a life-threatening situation, near-death experiences, things like that. Those anxieties are, I believe, natural emotions that humans have built within us as a survival technique. That puts us into the fight or flight mode and gives us a quick response on how to act in a certain situation for us to survive, to make sure that we stay planted on this earth. So first off, I had to learn to discern between the two, and a lot of that happened in meditation, in a lot of psychology as well, because once again, as I've mentioned before, I've been involved in, with psychiatrists and therapy for a very long time. So a lot of my awakening is very cognitively based. Spirit is involved in a huge, huge form, but as far as the tips and the tools and the understanding, it always took like a cognitive behavioral therapy approach or a dialectical behavioral therapy approach, which is, it's a system I'm still trying to tap out of, but there's a lot of big truth, especially in the mindfulness training, of being able to understand and tap into our intuition. So in my recent journey, which started about 2 years ago, I was hitting these huge tower moments in my life where everything was falling to pieces and I was left with nothing but flat ground and flat foundation to build off of. So what would happen was, when I had this clearing, when I finally cleared out everything out of my path, which, as far as starting over on this light worker journey, or if you are ascending and things are out of vibration, out of sync with you, it's hard for a lot of people just to 100% start over. For me, God forced these resets in my life, so I really didn't have a choice, but they were perfect for me, because what would happen is I would have this clear foundation with, no friends, no home, no job, nothing, no food in my belly. All I had were my 2 feet and the universe to traverse to try to find out where I was going to go. And I mentioned before about the plate that I have that, I add things on as far as, spiritual food, friendships, understandings, jobs, passions, things like that. So what I would do is, I luckily had enough time to be able to sit back and take a few deep breaths, and really, when I started to add things to my plate, I didn't just dump everything I could onto my plate to make my life as full as possible, as quick as possible. I was very, very, very careful with adding things one at a time. And what I would do is I would add one thing to my life, such as a friend. And what would happen is, if I started to hang out with this person and for no, chemical reason, and for no, that survival emotion reason, I started to get anxiety. And for me, that's my alarm. Anxiety for me in this situation is my alarm. And I feel it right here. I feel it in my solar plexus, because I find that a lot of HSPs, sensitive people, we feel everything as far as, empathy is concerned right here in our stomach and our gut. And that's why I think nutrition is a key point in being careful what we put into our system, because this is where we really can feel what's going on around us. But anyways, back on topic. I would add these one things in at a time, and if I noticed this anxiety started to stir up, or things like that, I had to then go inward and go, am I getting off track here? And a majority of the time I was. Majority of the time, the people that, and a lot of this, this alarm always went off for me with people. And it's because they were becoming a distraction towards my goal and towards my purpose. And especially what would happen on this journey is I would make a few steps, and I would gain a few things I would acquire, and I would get lonely, and I would start to bring these relationships into my life, and not a lot of them were serving me. They weren't in line with my beliefs because I wasn't setting up healthy boundaries, but also too, they were distracting me from what my goal was and what this vision I had and what I needed to follow. So I could, fill out the rest of my, my life on this timeline and enjoy it, and be able to not have to come back if I don't have to, so I can learn all the lessons I didn't learn in my past lives. So the way that I got to strengthen this alarm was, for me, I noticed what the alarm was. The alarm was anxiety. And if I couldn't pin it to chemical or environmental stresses, then I knew that I was involved in something that wasn't in line with where I was at, whether it be career, relationship, thought process, or in even education. And then what happened was I started to get to this point where I knew that if I added this one thing to my plate and this feeling, this alarm started to go off, I knew I needed to remove that from the plate, and then it was going to usher in something for me that would be of a vibrational match for where I'm at. And there were times too where I'd bring people into my life, and 3 or 4 months down the road, this alarm starts to go off because they're no longer in sync and in line with what I'm trying to accomplish while I'm here on this earth. And I've had to learn to listen to that alarm. A thing though that's very interesting about this is that this alarm will go off, but of course we have free will. So we can choose not to listen to this alarm, which I've done many times. I've chosen just, I'm just not going to listen to the alarm because this feels right for whatever reason, whatever it may be. And then I'm walking, and all of a sudden, these situations and scenarios that are a little bit unfortunate start to pop up in my life. And then it's the universe that is giving me these signs like, Corey, you're not listening to your intuition. We're going to keep sending these things until it blows up in your face, and then you finally go, whoa, yeah, I should have listened in the beginning. And by that time, there may be a lot of damage that had been done, either whether it be to me or to another person, or just things spiraling out of control in my life. And it's, for me, and I'm not saying this is for everyone, for me, that's because I've got a very important mission I need to fulfill while I'm here on this earth, and I cannot waste any time. And yet these things will be put in my path along the way because, the Matrix, whatever it may be, doesn't want me to be successful in this path. It wants to knock me off course. And there are important, valuable learning lessons from it. And so, for me, not listening to that intuition was almost a good thing because I learned a lot from it. But now I've gotten to this point that through meditation and through being very, very, very picky with what I bring into my life and who I bring into my life, I've now gotten to strengthen it to the point where I can almost immediately know whether something's right for me or not. And it's not necessarily, it doesn't pop up in anxiety anymore, because I felt like for a while that was the way that the universe needed to get my attention, was to give me a very strong emotion that would almost cripple me to my knees. Because I feel like if any of you have had anxiety or panic attacks before, you know it sucks. And it can throw you to your knees and it can throw off your entire day. So at first the alarm had to be very, very strong and in my face to let me know. And the anxiety stuff as far as the alarm is concerned, and not the chemicals, it's not chemically based, it's not environmentally based, and it's not a direct result of a survival technique emotion, but it's more or less that warning. It still comes off, but it's not as strong now, because I've gotten to fine tune it and refine it. And I now know through these situations where this anxiety hit, and and for instance, I'm going to say relationships, because this has been a huge kind of a huge learning lesson in my life as of this year, as far as the relationships I bring into my life. There are people that are going to be a vibrational match, and there are people that aren't. And I look at their traits and their qualities when I get this alarm, and I end up cutting it off or doing what I have to do to step away from it, or the universe cuts it off. I will sit back and I will kind of look at that person's morals and values, who they stood for as people, what they believed in, how they treated me. And I've seen what wasn't of a vibrational match for me through a lot of awareness and a lot of self-reflection and a lot of writing. And then, when I meet people in the future today or in the future, and I bring these people into my life, and I'm making that conscious decision whether or not that they are of support of where I'm at on my journey, or whether I'm there to help them, or what it is. I can look at their traits and refer to my past and go, okay, I've gone down this road before, and I don't want to go down that road again. I closed this cycle. The 9's hit. I'm on a 1 right now. Like, I'm trying to restart this journey. So I will choose not to engage in those relationships. And therefore, it's helped it to the point to where that alarm doesn't really go off as strong as it used to, because I kind of just know now what is made for me and what isn't made for me. I know the people I need in my life, and I know where I'm going, and I know where I need to head. Now, granted, these learning lessons, these karmic lessons, these karmic relationships are still going to pop up, because there's obviously important lessons that I need to learn on my journey, and as long as I'm aware of that, then I can act accordingly, and try to learn the lesson as quick as possible before there's too much damage on me, or done to me, or done to another person. Anyway. So yeah, this communication, this moral compass, this internal thing we have, it came as a direct result of finally stopping listening to people and stepping in line with where I wanted to be, but was also in line with my divine purpose. And if I don't listen to that alarm for whatever reason, if it goes off and I choose to be stubborn, which I'm extremely stubborn, and I don't want to listen to it sometimes, things will happen, and a lot of that will be little things like I'll trip on the sidewalk and fall. And, some people will just say, well, you were clumsy, you tripped over a crack, whatever. For me, that's God going, watch where you're walking. You're on your path, but be careful, because there's going to be obstacles. And if you're not aware of those obstacles, and you don't have the foresight to see those obstacles before they come, which sometimes you don't, they just pop up right in front of you, you're like, oh shit, there's an obstacle, and act accordingly, I'm going to fall, and it's going to hurt. But there's always learning lessons in that pain. So, don't judge yourself if your alarm's going off, or it's gone off before and you didn't listen to it and something happened and you're like, shit, I should have listened to that. Well, that's a whole part of the journey. A lot of this process is trial and error, and a lot of it is walking through very uncomfortable situations, getting out of them stronger, which helps to increase our integrity and our resilience, because it gets to a point where, at least on my journey, when I fall, I get back up and I keep going, and my resilience has just grown by leaps and bounds through a lot of these learning lessons. So, if you notice these things, like you notice that you have an alarm going off, listen to it. Listen to it and ask, what is it here? Especially if you're not aware of what it could be in your life that's not in line with your purpose. Today, I've kind of gotten to a point where I know what's a vibrational match for me, and I feel it. A lot of it It's now very little to do with intellect and very little to do with thought and more feeling. And just more the awareness of what it is I'm bringing into my life, and if those attributes if I've seen them before, and if they've led to a dark learning lesson. And then I know whether or not to bring it in, or whether just say, sorry, I appreciate you, whatever it may be, relationship, everything I've discussed as far as on the plate, and just being able to put it at a distance and go, thank you for popping up in my life, but I choose not to let you in. Which is completely okay. Healthy boundaries are key in this whole process. At least for me, I've had to learn to be very careful with what I usher into my life, and to really listen to that compass, and that alarm. And a lot of that was just through meditation, through quieting the noise around me and being able to really listen within. Because I feel like the more we get in tuned with our higher self, in tuned with what's going on inside, get in tune with our soul, the easier it is to get to navigate. And that's one thing I'm still learning, is how to meditate more, how to quiet and go within and not look for answers externally. Because I've been so used to that for my whole life. I've been programmed to do what you wanted me to do, and especially if people had really high expectations of me, if I didn't meet the expectations of those people, and I was out of line with my purpose, it was a disaster for me. So I had to really learn to listen to my voice and to follow my path and to own my path and enjoy it. And I'll tell you what, my family, for a while, they did not understand, and I felt like there was a lot of backlash and scrutiny for me wanting to follow my path. But where I'm at today, I'm owning my path, and they see that it's working for me, and they're so happy. They're so happy. So another little quick thing I wanted to throw in here is that if you have family and friends that aren't listening, or they're not listening to you, and they're not letting you be authentic, and they're not letting you choose your life, and they're judging, or they're trying to throw you off, or they're trying to make you feel bad for owning your journey, give it some time. Some relationships, the people will finally understand when they see that you're vibing, you're grooving, you're feeling good, and blessings and miracles are occurring in your life on a day-to-day basis. They will understand. If they truly care and love you and are truly here to be with you on this journey for a lifetime, whether they're a vibrational match to you or not at this point in time, they will understand, and they will let you walk, and they will see how strong you are and all these cool things coming to fruition in your life, and they will be amazed. And that's what's happening to me on this journey now. Is I'm being authentic, I'm being myself, I'm doing what I want to do. And what's very kind of cool now for me is the things I want to do is I want to be able to survive this game. I want to blend in. I want to be able to look the part. I don't want to act the part, and I want to be able to create my reality in the matrix the best that I can, and still be able to be free. I had those wants of just wanting to escape and get off the grid, and live in a forest and just meditate all day. But I still want to do that. I want to do that as a balanced thing. But I find fun in being able to build a spiritual life in the matrix today, and being able to kind of outsmart it, or try to the best of my ability, unplug but still be able to play. It's a really neat thing. So hope you guys got something out of that. It's very I think it's very important in being able to own our path and being able to find our true direction through meditation, through going within, and through listening to our body. It's been vital in this process for me. So, because now I'm doing my journey, and I love it, and I love who I'm becoming, and I love all the people I meet along the way, and I love all the life lessons, even though they suck, they hurt. There's a lot of physical pain, emotional pain, a lot of extreme tower moments where my whole world comes crashing down upon me. It's beautiful, because I've blossomed into this beautiful flower that I love today, and I'm gonna stay on this journey. So, anyways, that's all I got, guys. Hope you had a great holiday. Mine was amazing, and I hope you guys are following your path, owning your journey, staying authentic. And you know what? When you are, the world will give you signs that you're doing the right thing. And I got some huge confirmations last night. I was out with my family in Arizona. We got to go to Arizona, and I haven't been to Arizona in a long time. Beautiful out there, absolutely beautiful. And the whole ride home, I had confirmation for 2.5 hours that I'm right where I need to be, and I'm doing the thing, and it felt so good. So I hope you guys, if you're having those dark moments where you're not sure if you're in the right spot, you're doubting yourself, just keep moving forward. You know, if you fall, falling forward is a lot better than falling back. So just keep moving forward, and when you get that confirmation, boy, does it feel amazing. And I hope you guys seek that confirmation from the universe, like I have, and you'll get the signs. You'll know. You'll know. You'll feel it. You'll see it, and you'll get your groove back. So, anyways, that's all I got, guys. If you haven't, click subscribe. I could really, really, really appreciate it. Leave me a comment if you want to say something. And if you need any Ascension coaching or just need someone to talk to, shoot me an email, CoreyMacLight33@gmail.com. That's it, guys. Have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful week. That's it. Namaste.